Sorry, my bad. Take a right, go down 2 blocks. I didn't know. Hi, thank you for tuning in to That's the Setup podcast. I'm your host, Sharika Duncan, a new author of the Setup novel. Check me out on Instagram at Sharika Duncan and on Facebook as Sharika Duncan Author or my website, sharikaduncan.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Setup podcast. I'm your host, Sharika Duncan, and joining me this evening, this beautiful Friday evening, I have the pleasure of speaking with Ms. Lulan Yeki and Mr. BJ Fletcher. Welcome, guys.
Welcome, everyone. Hi. Happy Friday.
Yes, it is Friday. On a beautiful day.
Yes, a wonderful Friday. I'm so happy to see this day. Such a long, hard work week. So, BJ, what are you guys up to today?
No, it's just been a hot day, and I'm up in hot Atlanta. You know what I'm talking about? It's just been...
Elliot. He's in your neck of the woods, Roland. Beware.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, it's hot up here.
So what are you doing in Atlanta today, BJ?
Well, on one of my little side jobs, I drive charter buses, so I drove an athletic team for one of these colleges to come up for this NCAA baseball tournament. So I'm up here. That's pretty much just drove the baseball team to a game.
Really?
Yeah.
That is something new. I wasn't aware that you had that particular skill in your pocket.
Oh yeah, my daddy always told me, got to have different skills to, to make it through. So you'll be able to maneuver how you need to maneuver in any situation. So because I know that if you're a carpenter, you got carpentry skills. As long as you got tools, you can pretty much pull up on any construction site and say, hey, I got tools and I got skills, and you got a job today. And if you got like a CDL, you can drive most of the time. If you got a clean driving record, you can go to any place and like, hey, y'all need a driver. They're going to pretty much hire you the same day after the drug test. Like for most, trades like that, if you got the skills, they'll hire you most time right away because they're always in need. Like if welding, boom, it's there. So, yeah, that's a big thing, I was always told
that. High demand.
Say what?
High demand.
Yeah, trades are in high demand. Just think about skills. Because if your toilet break down, how long are you going to wait for somebody to fix it if it's flooding? You're going to call right away. When you need somebody with skills, you need them, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Air condition break down. How long are you going to wait before you call the air condition man? Are you going to try to fix it yourself?
Immediately.
You know what I'm saying? It's so many things out there that help us live such a comfortable life that, when you need them, and you're going to pay what they charging.
That's a pretty good point, which leads me into just pondering. That is the difference between going to attain an education for a particular profession, like going to college, or going to a technical institution to learn a trade so you can have those type of skills.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% real because at most jobs that you, like say if you, in most majors and most educations, when you come out, you might make 30, get bumped up, make 45, get bumped up, make 50, and most people kind of hover around that 50, 65 area, for a long time before they start getting up to 75 and above. But just if you got a good skill, a good trade, let's say truck drivers, for instance, just truck drivers. I know truck drivers, they make it like between 50 and 65 off rip. So just imagine if you're a high schooler, you graduate, come out of high school, and you know, like most high schoolers, they really don't know what they want to major in. People go to college and change a couple of times, but you just start driving trucks, and automatically you making all that money until your mind mature, until you become an adult, which is 25, and then you can make a decision. But other than that, you're pretty much just, you know, in the system. So I think Mark Twain. Am I talking too much? But yeah, Mark Twain had a quote, and he was talking about, you know, don't let your schooling get in the way of your education. And I know a lot of people, you know, so hard up on, I want to go to school, go to college, and, you know, they don't really just focus on, you know what I'm saying, hey, let me learn something. Let me learn a skill.
Let me interrupt you because I believe you have a beautiful intro to a nice conversation. Roland, do you have any type of trade or skill that you possess? Don't be shy.
You know what? I was thinking about it. Go ahead, Roland.
Well, I know how to braid with or without extensions.
Whoa.
When I was in high school, that was like the way I made extra money on the side for extra stuff I wanted to buy, you know, because when you were in high school, you were into materialistic stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted $100 purse for no reason. As a sophomore, I'm going to get it, but I have to work for it pretty much. So,
wow. I love it. Now, that is a skill that is in high demand because we beautiful African American women love our hair braided during this type of weather.
Mhm. Yes, I do. I be liking some on.
You do? Have you ever grown your hair out, BJ, to have it braided?
Well, you know, I had some what they call them things, cornrows for a minute, but they were like, you know, that's too painful to get done, so I went straight to dreads, and yeah, that was what I did. But you know, I was thinking as we asked the question about Roland, like, what do you do for a living, Roland? Hello? Can you hear me? Am I calling the wrong name?
Hi. Oh. Yes. So as of now, I'm an accountant, working my way up eventually to get a CPA. But yeah, I kind of stumbled into that. Of course, I went to the SBI, FAMU. Hey, yeah. And so I got a business degree because I didn't want to be placed in a box. I know with a business degree it's broad, but it allowed me room to touch different parts of business per se. And so far that's exactly what it's done. My degree has it started me off in an administrative world, and then I moved up to the HR world, and then the billing world, and the accounts payable world, and then now an accountant. I mean, yeah. So
that is one. I love that. I mean, based on what you guys have said in a short time frame, BJ, you explain where you are. You in the major city, hot Atlanta. I mean, really driving a chartered bus. I mean, who knew? And you are a Bell's bondsman. I mean, I was waiting on you to say that particular skill set. But those things are in high demand. And, Roland, you know how to braid. And trust me, honey, I need to get an appointment quick with you.
With parties or do anything because I had to work while I was attending college. So I already had a job as an executive coordinator before I even got a business degree, right? So, of course, naturally, when I graduated, I was already in the door, and I just moved on from there. I know stories of a lot of people who graduated with me, who sat right next to me, and it took them a while to find a job. And it got to the point where the, student loans started, it's kind of pay them, so they had to get a job where they can get a job at. And you have people who have master's degrees who are sitting at a call center, and it's not because that's what they want to do, but that's just their starting point. Some move away from that. Some, keep pushing. Some people stay stuck because they just give up for whatever reason. But to me personally, I don't care if you have a college degree or not, but you have to be educated. You cannot be a fool out here thinking that you don't need education. You may not need a degree, but you need education.
And you have to have a will to learn. Some people are not teachers. Some people do not want to listen. So you have to be able to want to know.
Yep.
And be responsible with it. Because honestly, in terms of one of my positions that I worked for years ago, it was in education. And I worked for this particular data group and after my degree. And this data group, which still exists to this day, and I really value the work that they put in. But we will study a cohort of individuals, meaning if you graduate, BJ, what class in high school did you graduate in? Like, what was your
99.
99. What high school?
Gabi
High School, class of 99. We would grab those class of 99, right? Because we have partnerships. I'm speaking of we, but when I was there, have partnership with these different entities that all speak together, and we would grab your information and track where are you right now in a particular time frame, and tell whoever requested it, because it's public record at times, but it will have a fee attached. We would tell that person what everything that you've done. Did the what high school, Gabi? Did Gabi High School educational system did their education do you good service in terms of that particular product? Because that you are a product of Gabi High School. Just like when I saw the incident of those high school seniors this week, who walked across the stage, and then they went out in the parking lot and just started fighting like cats and dogs. When they
fighting? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was just trying to understand your question.
No, I was saying, did you hear why they were fighting?
Oh, I seen the video. I heard about the reason why they were fighting is because they have, correct me if I'm wrong too, I was told that the reason for that big brawl, because I heard it was like 3 different sets of fights, and right immediately after the ceremony, it was because of the new seating arrangements where they have wherever your graduate is placed to sit, the parents are placed in that certain section. So the seats are marked. And so there was a set of family members who were not in their proper seating, and that family got upset because they would not leave. They would not move out of their seats. So that family had to move up top, and they were cussing each other out back and forth during the ceremony, talking about they're going to fight each other after the ceremony. Is that true?
Okay. Well, you know what? From what I heard, it was completely different. So, from what I heard from the people who went to the graduation, the people who went to the school, this may be, you say it was multiple fights, maybe for different reasons, but what I heard, it really ties into the topic. So, the SAT, everybody take the SAT to go to college. So they had a big SAT for their Gabi, and then somebody happened to get all the answers, and I don't know who all cheated, but people cheated on the SAT. So because people cheated on the SAT and got caught, all those tests were void. And so a lot of people were dependent on that test score or whatever to, I don't know, somebody said graduate, but it don't make no sense for graduate, but to get into college and to do this and to do that. And so I guess that was what fueling, people going back arguing about, okay, because you cheated, you messed up this, you messed up that. And that's what I heard fueled the whole argument to start the fight, because people,
who wanted the fight. That could be allegedly true, because both of these are allegations. But there were 3 sets of fights, so that could be possibly, valid.
Yeah, but that makes me think, right? Because Roland, you just talked about, people trying to go to college and putting themselves in all this debt. And a lot of people who go to college, end up not getting jobs and their degrees. They're not even working in their field or anything like this. So why, I know you said social status, but, why do you think people, why do people try to go to universities and stuff so early after high school? Because I know in my experience, cut me off if I'm going too far off the topic. You know, I went to undergrad, you know what I'm saying, because I got a scholarship, you know what I'm saying, do. But then I didn't take college serious at that time for real, and a lot of people that I was with, they didn't take college serious. Only people who really took college serious were the people who were like there on the grace of God and had messed up background. But you know what I'm saying, it was a big party scene. Didn't nobody care about school from my perspective. But then when I was older and went back to school for my graduate degree, I was able to take it a whole lot serious. I'm like, so why is it that you think people would rather go to college right after high school instead of waiting until they become adults and then go to school where they can take it serious? Do people even consider that?
I mean, there's several factors. I believe one is pressure. They're pressured by their family to immediately enter college because they don't want them to lose that momentum. Some people, you know, not many, it's very few people that take off a year before they go to college. They decide, you know, that year turns into several years, and before you know it, some just don't never make it. Or if they do make it later on in life, it could be that. It could be that person wants to get away from home. I know some people, they couldn't wait to get away from home. And the only best way to get away from home and still have your parents take care of you is going to college, you know. Another factor is scholarships. Some scholarships require you, you know, if you got a scholarship, you have to show up. You know, you can't tell them, well, I'm gonna need a year or two until, you know, I know for sure what I want to do or how I want to do it. You know, it's just for a lot of reasons. And I think kids who play sports too, I guess that's part of a scholarship. You know, when they graduate, they're expected to show up. I'm sure not immediately, but they're expected to show up because they have stuff prepared for them. You know, they got a scholarship and they need to be there. There's many, many reasons. I mean, there's always a whole bunch of reasons, and young kids always show up to college, but by the time the first and second semester come around, you see it filter through. You see some who's going to last and some who are not. When I went to college, there was 12 of us. By the time I graduated, there was only 2 of us left, and that's over the course of 5 years.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
We all wanted to just get away from home. Pretty much that was what we were doing.
And believe me, those institutions had to pay for that because that's the bodies, the governing system that is overseeing that track of cohort of students who graduated in that particular class. They get their budget slashed if the products are not accounted for. And in terms of how many teachers are actually hired at a certain rate of pay.
That's interesting. Wow, I never thought about it like that because I always thought, they getting paid money, you know what I'm saying? So they ain't really caring. I know, well, I'll try to take that back. It depends because I went to several different institutions. And some institutions, they about your money. Yo, okay, don't do what you want to. You still paying me. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. But it's okay. All right. Oh, yeah, because in bail bonds, I see this a lot, right? People come to Tallahassee, come to school, and they end up getting in trouble and end up flunking out or, you know what I'm saying, getting kicked out of school and all this. And it's crazy to me. And I think what's the saddest thing to me is somebody who's done all they're supposed to do, got everything together, then they end up getting in trouble, get some kind of charge because they're in desperate situations, and end up not being able to work in certain fields. And I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, why?
Our educational system is just bogus at this point. It all needs to be revamped because, as you notice, sometimes some parents know that it takes more than school to prepare their child or their children for their future. They know that it takes a parent being involved to do their part, and it also takes the community involvement to play a major role in a child's educational background. Now you got juvenile justice who racking up money for every child who gets in trouble. Those facilities are charging the state. Those parents have to pay fines every time them kids get in trouble. It's all the money. It's all like when you mentioned about, and I'm waiting on you to talk about whether or not traditional school is viewed as slave-making institutions. We're in America. America is driven on money, and there are standards that are in place to where the teacher can't teach a child nothing but what they told her to teach them because they don't have time to teach them life skills. They don't have time to teach them how to be a gentleman or open the door, close the door, say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. They don't have time for that.
And Sheik, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, but see, I'm going to have to talk a little different because, I'm talking about, I know you're talking about like high schoolers and young juveniles. I'm talking about adults, like 24, you're not an adult when you're 24, but, people who are adolescents who have made it out of high school and in this range, when a lot of times the stuff people get in trouble for, it wouldn't matter what, you see parents, you can't blame the parents for what the child do a lot of times when you're at that stage. There's a lot of stupid stuff they get in trouble for that end up messing up their whole lives. And I'm mad at
they don't get corrected at a child.
No, hold on. Some of the stuff you can't correct. It ain't got nothing to do with your upbringing. Because it's like you can raise a child, be good, do this, and they get caught up in the scheme. They might happen to be with the wrong crowd. Anything can happen, and they get messed up. But then what I'm upset about is, I guess, our whole system and these job systems where somebody gets something on their record, all of a sudden they can't work no more. And I think that's when I became an advocate for trades, because I know a lot of smart, educated brothers who got this and got that, but because they got this on their record and because they do a background check at certain jobs, you can't work this place because of something you did, on a humbug, or you was emotional in a relationship. And you know how some people get in a relationship, somebody gonna ghost them, and they all hot and mad, and they can't control their emotions. Now they go tear up some stuff or acting up in public, and they got this charge, and boom.
I understand that whole scenario, but here's the bottom line. Here's where you draw the line in the sand. In determining how many black or whatever race representation is in the government system. Like, how many politicians that it's time to vote, do we have enough of us in there to make the rules different, the law different? I mean, everything is set based on these laws and statutes, but we must go and prepare ourselves to be in the room to make the decision, to make the change.
I agree with you. You got to be able to change policies, especially these.
Otherwise, we can't break them because law enforcement. There's rules in place, so you got to think smarter than that. You got to go and dress yourself up, act a certain way, so you can go in the room and pretend, so you can make that vote count. I mean, we got to play the game. We're in America. Unless you're moving to Africa or wherever else you want to move to, so that you don't have to deal with the American law.
But what do we do when people are already in that situation, right? And you
got to advocate. You go up there.
Once you got something on your record and you trying to get a job at some corporate place, and then they do a background check, and now you can't get the job.
They're just following we cannot stop right there at that job. That's what my point is. My point is, yes, it's unfortunate that there are a lot of brothers, a lot of my family members, a lot of my friends, people who I love dearly that are in that scenario. But what has to happen, we cannot waste time and energy talking about that as a debate. We must prepare ourselves to do a substantial impact by preparing the mind mentally so that we can go up there and make the change from the top down. We can't fight at the defeat, because if we fight, somebody's going to give and somebody's going to give up. Somebody's going to be stressed out. It's going to be people hurt. We got to start from the top. Go to college, educate yourself, get the paper, do what you need to do to get these positions. Hey, run for office. People don't want to vote no more because, we know it's a trap. Some people feel like it's a trap. I'm not speaking for everybody, because there are rules and order in the state government, and we must abide by them and to make the change effective.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that. I personally know people who made a mistake for whatever reason, and they have something on their background. But you know what they did? They kept on. it took a while, but you got to keep on, like Sharika said, you